Did you guys know dinosaurs was actually meta this year? Or that virtual world wasn't too long ago when they were just VFD locking us to the ground? Hey guys, this is Tombox. This is 2021, and we're gonna recap the entire year for you guys. And with me are a few special guests, and this is the first time I'm bringing in other people to join me into recapping the top 2 timeline with you guys. And hopefully you guys remember how things were and how things are gonna move forward to, especially with the new announcement of all those new formats that we're potentially going to see. Maybe it's gonna change up how I do this particular video in the future. But make sure you guys smash that subscribe button, ding the notification bell, say happy birthday to Tombox, because yeah, it's my birthday by the time you watch this video. You know what? To start things off, I'm gonna pass it off to Nishi.
Thanks, Tombox. What is up, guys? This is Nishi here. So today we are starting off with the end of 2020, and in the December 2020 format, we did see a pretty significant ban list hitting multiple big cards, right? So we had Dragon Buster, Smoke Grenade of the Thief, and Linkross all finally banned on the December 2020 list, and spilling over into the January 2021 format, we had a lot of other decks that survived that format still being the same, right? So that ban list did kill off decks like Infer Noble Knights, and then Dragon Link was significantly weaker without being able to Buster Lock so easily and without access to Linkross. However, there were some still really strong competitors that format. Drytron obviously was still really big with its ability to set up Herald, and it had access to triple Benton. We had Virtual World still at full power with access to multiple copies of True King of All Calamities. Dinosaurs were still really strong. We had Miscellaneous Source at 3. Drident was still in full force with Barrage Limited and Drident Limited, so we didn't have any of those crazy hits that we're seeing now. And then there were, of course, other strong decks. We had things like Prank Kids running around. The Invoked Dogmatica was still really good, and also there were some performances, although maybe a little bit questionable, from Dragoon Eldritch as well. Now, in January of 2021, we did have one set come out that brought us a few new cards in the form of Legendary Duelist Season 2. It brought us Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon, Galaxy Eyes Afterglow Dragon. Nothing too meta or game-changing. I think that set was more significant and notable because of the cards it reprinted, things like Lieb and Photon Orbital. Now, as I did just mention, a lot of the decks that were successful at the end of 2020 and didn't get hit on the December 2020 ban list stayed at the top moving into January of 2021. So we still saw decks like Dinosaurs, we saw Full Power Drytron, Virtual World. Those were all still really successful. At the Remote Duel Invitational Qualifier, we did see the first iterations of the modern day Bird Up deck by Ishan and Kyle Waterbury. So that's Lyrilusks and that kind of thing. Prank Kids were piloted by Hanko Chow. That deck did see a lot of success over the course of 2021. And then we finally saw a bit more success from Adamancipator Prank Kids as well, for the first time really since Block Dragon was banned. So moving on into February, we had a pretty okay set come out in the form of Blazing Vortex. Of course, this did bring with it the most powerful archetype of 2021 in the form of the Warrocks, which managed to top so consistently. No, I'm just kidding. There may have been some hype for the Warrocks initially. They definitely weren't anything to write home about. They were kind of a big flop. However, Blazing Vortex was an important set because it brought with it Pot of Prosperity, a card that improved the consistency of a lot of different strategies and is still being played to this day. It also introduced to us Tri-Brigade Kit, which is a card that was absolutely key in enabling the growth and development of the Tri-Brigade deck over the course of the year. There were a couple of other notable but not as impactful cards, things like Miradora and the Underworld Goddess, but aside from that, right, at this point, the meta still mostly was dominated by the same decks for the first couple of months. I think most notably among those were Drytron and Virtual World, but then other decks like the Prank Kids, the Dinosaurs, and Zodiac as well. These would continue to be the top decks right up until we saw the next ban list, and for that I am going to pass this off to Susu from Head to Head Battles.
Big shout out to Nishi for passing down the torch to me, alright, and you're wondering, who is this person on the screen right now, alright? Who am I watching? My name is Susu and I am from Head to Head Battles. We have a YouTube channel as well as a Twitch channel. I'm sure Tombox will have all the links down in the description box down below. Go over there, hit the subscribe button, and also if you're not subscribed to this channel where you're watching this video, subscribe to this channel as well, god damn it. Now without further ado, let's get straight into March. Now March had a really interesting ban list because it didn't really ban the cards that were at issue. I mean, but these cards are definitely issues. Now if you remember VFD format with Virtual Worlds, oh my goodness, double VFD Chuche Pass must have been the most toxic board that I've ever played up against in my entire life. But VFD finally got banned, and also people were playing Drytrons and Union Carry was being abused. Rest in peace to the ABC players, because Union Carry just literally gets banned for no reason because of Drytron. But the Union Carrier got banned, as well as limiting Ben 10. Now limiting Ben 10 and getting rid of Union Carrier did hurt Drytrons. But if you look at like the time of recording today, which we are in December 21st, Drytrons are still being played with the addition of DPE. But oh my goodness, you kill that deck, the deck will still be as powerful as it was day one, because I mean, realistically, if you're not playing through 3 negates, you weren't playing through 5 anyways, so it is what it is. Now, this is a card that I was playing that did get banned in my Grand Maju strategy, because they always make you go first, right? And when you go first, you just set up Zexal and pass, and you're pretty much chilling. But Zexal got banned, which made me alter my strategy a little bit, but we still saw a lot of success. Now, after the ban list, the kind of the best deck strategies, like all those did change, right? Some of the best decks in that format were Bird Up. Now, that deck is straight gas. It doesn't have the support that it does today, but that deck was still really, really good, okay? And as always, the fan favorite, going first or second, we have Dinos, okay? Now, Dinos puts up a massive board, and they're also great at clearing boards as well. And Dinos with miscellaneous, you know what I'm saying? The deck functions really well, and Fossil Dig at 3 is insane, but it's there. And Dinos will always be, and even now, even to the day of me recording this, people still play Dinos, right? And back then, it was much more powerful than it is today. Now, the next deck after that was Invoke Shaddolls. Now, Invoke Shaddolls is a deck where the skill ceiling is really high, and if you know how to play the deck, well, at least the Shaddol side of it, because, I mean, normal summon Alistair, I mean, I don't know how many brain cells you need for that, but the Shaddol side does require you to think a little bit and trade with your opponent a little bit better than you normally would if you were playing like a trap variant deck, right? The next deck on the list is Prank Hits. Now, Prank Hits is a deck where it is really resilient, but was really susceptible to hand traps, but not anymore, right? Because with the addition of Meow Meow Moo, the deck became much more resilient to hand traps, while being able to play a lot of hand traps themselves, making the deck really, really good and really hard to stop, because that double Raigeki effect is pretty damn powerful. And if we're talking about decks that will never die, Dragon Link is right up there with Invoke. Okay, now Dragon Link, that deck will always be good, because apparently dragons are like Konami's favorite archetype, and they just have extenders for days. Like, if Prank Kids is like hand trap deck, Dragon Link is literally gas deck. And finally, in this format, a really interesting deck, Ellic Zoo. Now, you have the ability to grind with the Ellic engine while also setting up, Dryden Pass, I guess, and set a couple of cards. But the deck did see some success, but albeit not as much success as the other decks, but it did see some success while it was being played. Now, as we head over into April, the top decks of the format didn't really change, because a lot of people were kind of conforming and finding new strategies to play, but Tri-Brigade being as consistent as it was, and people finally realizing how good of a card Revolt was, Tri-Brigade sort of took that top spot, right? And without Miscellaneous getting banned or limited or anything, Dinosaurs was still seeing a lot more success than I honestly gave it credit for. But when you're playing up against the greatest board breaker cards in the form of UCT, I really don't know what you're going to do anyways. And to nobody's surprise, people were still normal summoning Alistair, and there's nothing wrong with that. Normal summoning Alistair is cool and all, but sometimes you gotta try something else. Now, a lot of people during this format realized that Dogmatica was a splashable engine like Strikers, and they were throwing that shit in everything, okay? We were playing Ellic Dogmatica, Buster Blader Dogmatica, and touching on Buster Blader, that deck was really good too. I mean, changing everything into dragons, right? And then putting them in defense, and you can't even attempt to activate effects. That's how good the Buster Blader lock was. It was insane. And as always, without LB being banned, wink wink, Dragon Link was still seeing a lot of play, because I mean, like I said, the deck is purely gas, and if you hand trap them 3 times, they're probably still ending on like a negate and a spin, which makes the deck really good. And a lot of people were definitely playing it. And Ellic Zoo, it didn't go anywhere, because the deck is really resilient and grindy, right? You would think that Dryden set 3 pass isn't that strong, but when you're playing like a resilient engine like Ellic, it becomes pretty good. And some of the more notable product releases in April were Ghosts from the Past. Now, a lot of you think that this set was bad and calling it Ultras from the Past, but no, I think this set was really good. It reintroduced Ghost Rares back into the game, and kind of left you wanting some of the more notable Ghost Rares in that set, being Ghost Rare Dark Magician. Now that upon release was like $1,000, and it's definitely not holding the same value as it was before, but $700 for a Ghost Rare Dark Magician is still pretty up there. And some of the better cards in that set were like Dragoonity Remus. Now, that card for the Dragoonity strategy, even for Dragon Link strategy, was really, really powerful, right? And you have new Time Thief cards like Time Thief Adjuster, which helped you extend further into your combo, as well as Neshalol Genius. Now, not a lot of people are playing Genius. I'm sure somebody smarter than I will figure it out, but yeah. Now, in April, something insane happened. The Remote Duel Invitational. Now, this was huge because now you get to finally play competitively, but remotely. Now, some of the decks that were really rampant in the Remote Duel Invitational were decks like Dragon Link, piloted by some of the better players like Shun Ping and Asala. We had Sky Strikers, like, oh my goodness, like, let the deck, like, bury the deck, like, let it die. We had Invoke Shaddoll, Dinosaurs, we had Tri Brigade, we had Ultrageist, which was kind of insane. Ultrageist being one of the sleepers of the format. We had Buster Blader and PAK's Warcrime Trap deck. Now, as we move into May, the top decks really didn't change because these top decks like really took over the meta and really found itself in a spot where they were hard to dethrone, right? Like Tri Brigade still being one of the best decks, Dinosaurs still breaking boards like it was 2016 or whenever the deck was insanely good. I mean, I guess the deck is insanely good like at that time, right? Invoke Shaddolls, Elec Dogmatica, Zodiac's Dragon Link, and Elec Zoo were still like, it was pretty much the same decks from like every format to another, right? Because one, after the March ban list, I mean, you can't play, you know, double VFD pass and Drytrons anymore. So now, as we move into May, not a lot has changed format-wise, right? All the top decks were pretty much the same from last month because, I mean, if you're playing the best decks competitively and if you know that competitive decks are pretty much representation, all the players that want to win were still playing Tri Brigade, Dinosaurs, Invoke Dogmatica, Elec Dogmatica, Zodiacs, Dragon Links, and Elec Zoo. Now, the funnier releases of that month, and you know, these definitely weren't the best ones, was Ancient Guardians, okay? Agdo Addicts and Soulful Cores and Oos Arctics. You know, I mean, no one's playing those decks, but it's funny because, I mean, that set was supposed to be nice, and then it kind of flopped. Now, as we move into June, the format shook up just a little tiny bit. Now, with the release of Lightning Overdrive, and this set did bring a lot of energy back into the format, you know, albeit Drytrons. Now, Drytrons did get hit a lot on that March ban list, but with the addition of Diviner of the Herald, okay, and Mu Beta, the deck put up boards that it couldn't ever since all the other cards. Now, as we move into June, the format shook up just a little tiny bit. Now, with the release of Lightning Overdrive, and this set did bring a lot of energy back into the format, you know, albeit Drytrons. Now, Drytrons did get hit a lot on that March ban list, but with the addition of Diviner of the Herald, okay, and Mu Beta, the deck put up boards that it couldn't ever since all the other cards got hit, right? Because Diviner allows them to send Herald of the Arclight, and then you activate Herald of the Arclight. And I don't know who designed Mu Beta, but being able to use the Xyz materials under the card as tribute fodder for ritual summoning is actually broken. We also got brand new synchros in the form of Ruddy Rose, which didn't see much play in June and is seeing more play today, like in December, but still a good card nonetheless, as well as Bear Brum. Now, Bear Brum really helped the Tri Brigade strategy and finally let people know that Tri Brigade Revolt is one hell of a card, and Bear Brum being able to add it to your hand kind of changed up the strategy and like shook the Tri Brigade community to the core because they were kind of split on what was good and what isn't, but Bear Brum is one insane link too. And with the addition of Dark Infant, Adignisters finally became a decent deck because, I mean, any Link 1 will break the game, and Dark Infant was an insanely good Link 1 because it searches you their field spell. Because now, you don't need to play 3 AI place or island. You can just normal summon and link off for Dark Infant and search you the field spell. Also, Dino's got a much better strategy in the form of Scrap Raptor, allowing you to play a small scrap engine to build you this like FTK Dino board, as if Dinos needed any more freaking help. Obviously, talking about all these buffs to these decks, those were the best decks in the format, right? We still had Dinos, we had Drytrons, like just having one hell of a resurgence, right? We have Tri Brigades swapping their strategy but becoming a much better one at that. We had Adignisters putting on one of the best towers in the game, albeit it does lose to a singular kaiju. But the rest of the format still hasn't changed because, I mean, like I said, Invoke Dogmatica, Like, those engines will always be good unless they're hit, and they're not hit, so it is what it is. And finally, I want to wish everyone watching this video a happy holidays. I want you to stay warm. I want you to stay safe. Most importantly, I want you to stay dripping, all right? Make sure you guys are practicing your Yu-Gi-Oh! For all the upcoming events that, unfortunately, I might not see you at, but we'll be coming back, I promise. I got to go pass it off to my brother and my partner in crime, PAK, Bozo number 2. You guys probably know him better as Bozo number 2.
Yo, Suzu, thanks for letting me jump in for the July to September timeline. But before we get started, be sure to check me out at PAK TCG. You can check my Twitch information and YouTube information in the description box below. But let's get right into it, right? So July marks a new ban list, and a lot of people were kind of looking forward to this. The main reason was Dragons has been just dominating the scene, but with the new ban list, which is Guard Dragon LP being banned, got a lot of people like really excited. I think some people also wanted Hermetic Seal to get hit at some point, but LP was really good because it stopped a lot of like the combo potential of Dragons. The other important thing to note was that Trident was also banned, because we saw that there was a huge surge of people playing basically like infinite hand trap Trident control, and that like was really powerful. Like, who would have thought Trident pass with like 3-4 hand traps is just like super crazy. And then when it goes second, it can play infinite board breakers, which threatens like Zeus, that can like just clear the entire board. The other important or notable thing to note is that Engage went to 1, and this was really interesting. A lot of people contemplated playing Striker again, and for a lot of people, it was a huge like nostalgia bait. So there was a YCS that was also coming up about like maybe 2 weeks after this ban list dropped. Miss finally got hit. Dinos was basically dominating alongside like the Dragon scene, because Dinos was one of the deck that didn't care about like big boards. Like, it just basically like nuked everything, and Miscellaneous Source was just like a very ignorant card. So hitting Miss to 1 made it less consistent for them to just hard open Miss when they normal summon Overreactor. And then of course the other thing was that Striker Dragon also went to 1. So Dragon took a very big hit. You got the Dino deck basically being axed like very heavily, losing Miscellaneous Source. You have Engage coming to 1, which basically meant that like there's gonna be a huge surge of Sky Striker players. And it's so cool to see that, like, you know, when we looked at the YCS that happened, obviously, you know, I ended up winning with Prank Kids, and this is how I ultimately made the decision to just play Prank Kid, because I noticed that because of all these hits, everyone would go back to regular Tri Brigade instead of Tri Brigade Zoo. And what I mean by that is that because Dryden got banned, a lot of people were going to be playing Tri, but just regular Tri. A lot of people are still going to be playing Diatron because that deck didn't get touched. And the hand traps in the metagame were mainly like sort of like Imperm, Veiler, like Ash Blossom. Not a lot of people really played Nib because Dragon just got Axe, so there's no need to play Nibru. Diatron plays through Nib really well, and then the Tri Brigade deck doesn't really lose to Nibru because it, you know, makes Bear Brum and plays around it. So I, like, you know, when I went to the event, I took like Prank Kids, which not a lot of people did, like very low representation from an NA perspective. And that's how I ultimately did, I feel like, really well, because I basically evaluated the metagame and got rewarded. Since mainly people are on Veiler and Impermanence, which Prank Kid like just chunks through. The other thing was that we also saw, like, at the YCS, there was a lot of Tri Brigade player, right? So a lot of people recognized that Tri Brigade was a deck to play, the deck to beat, and it was also a deck that can play a lot of like non-engine cards, a lot of hand traps. So it made a very, very strong pick for the YCS as well. If you look at like the top 32, we got, like, you know, I mentioned Diatron. Tombox actually himself also like got top 32 at the YCS with Tritrons. You know, like, because the deck was still like basically untouched, still a very strong combo deck. You have like a couple like pure Zoo decks also going around with no Trident. Some people were like, you know what if we just play Go Second and play Borbal Control and attack directly and try to make Zeus? I thought that was pretty neat as well. You had a couple like very Ignister decks, a couple Dragon Link decks, Sky Striker decks, Tri Brigade decks, PK decks. We even got like a Cyber Dragon deck from Hakuna Matata, which I thought was like real interesting, because the YCS that happened, because it was so close, I think, to the ban list, made it so that a lot of people weren't really sure what the best deck was, and they all played a wide range of decks. And that's why we saw such a big representation of like just random decks, quote unquote.
I think it was also like really interesting that there was I played Dragon Links in the final, and Dragon Link developed a more control style. And what I mean by this is they started doing like Hermetic Seal with like the trap card from like Dragon Maids. And that was, I thought, was like really interesting, because you got to see that like even though dragons got axed, they found ways to innovate and still be a deck in the metagame. And a lot of that is mainly due to Hermetic Seal being an interruption, but also a follow-up built into one card, which is like really, really crazy. Non-targeting bounce, all that good stuff. And then you have like the Dragon Chambermaid cards, which are synergistic and allowed for like more control style variant that also allowed for like OTKs, really easy OTKs. So I thought that was like really cool. And then ultimately we hit like August, and in August it was just like Dawn of the Majesty, aka like Trash of the Majesty, whatever you want to call it, just got released. It was like a terrible set. Like I think the biggest card that came out was like Ready Fusion, I believe. You had like Beat Troopers getting debuted, which is, ended up getting second at the YCS recently, but they didn't have like all the cards necessarily yet at the time. You got some more branded support, which was like kind of okay. And then you got like Aliver. Like those are the main cards you can think of from the Dawn of Majesty set. So it wasn't anything spectacular in terms of a metagame perspective. Like it had little to almost no impact on the metagame. Basically everything remained the same because if you think about it, the set wasn't strong enough to support new strategies, or like some of the strategies were still incomplete to finish. So it's ultimately it just made it so that like August was a very dry month. I think people were so excited, like people were still testing different decks, trying different things out, and you saw like this huge surge in, I would say, of like the Dragon Link control variant, because a lot of people like the mid-range control variant of dragons, and it was also like a really nice way to play dragons again. A lot of people were still on Striker because it was very nostalgic. Even though Engage was at 1, they still wanted to play Striker because like the 1 Engage makes like kind of like made the deck a lot more playable because of Shizuku being able to add follow-up, and like gave them like a few go first options as well. And then like finally we hit like September, and that month was like you had a lot of product delays, I think except in EU maybe. I'm trying to remember that, but like it was just like no product, like there was just like delays everywhere. And so like this is where people got like really, I would say, bored for the most part. Like we wanted to see a new ban list. People were playing the same Pranket deck, the same Dragon deck, the same Tri-Brigade deck. Like people wanted to kind of like hopefully see something new. Maybe Diatron getting hit, like that was also a deck in the metagame. So we were all like like waiting for the ban list basically to come out in October, and that's like kind of like what people were really looking forward to. We were also waiting on like Burst of Destiny. A lot of stuff was like being delayed, so from a metagame perspective it's pretty much still the same old. So and that's pretty much it from like July to September. I would say like most of the exciting stuff happened in July, and you saw like things dwindle down towards the end of the format, quote unquote, or the 3-month period, which I find like very unique. I find that often, the first months when the ban list gets dropped, everyone's really excited to play, and you see that interest dwindles down as there's like no product, or like products being delayed, or if people are playing the same thing over and over, like people want change, like new stuff all the time to get them like amped up for the game again. But I also like ban list season is also a time where like people are the most excited because it gives them room to innovate, like things to figure out new strategies, like what's good, what isn't good, like what are the new best decks, etc., etc. So I would say for the most part, it was like a pretty solid like 3 months. But July was definitely like what everyone was looking forward to, and then like, things died down. But overall, that's pretty much it. But anyways, guys, happy holidays. I hope you guys are having time with your family, hanging out, and all that good stuff.
Thanks, PAK. I'll take it from here. And starting off with October. Okay, for ban list alert, we got major hits on the Tri-Brigade, and we got major hits on the Prank Kids, as well as a little side love tap on the Drytrons. But let's get into the details here. We have Tenki going down to 1. I guess, Rhoda searches for all warriors. I guess Tenki searches for all beast warriors. And the toolbox is now kind of in a similar place where you can search for a lot of versatile stuff with that. Now it's going down to 1. Consistency is king, and we're going to kill the king here. And next we have Zodiac Barrage following suit with Drident. Well, Drident was the previous ban list. Now Barrage is gone too because it's just a free Zodiac Zodiac Beast Warrior monster that can just go into Zeus for free. And Meow Meow Moo going down to 1, I think this has led to a lot of success due to prank kids just ignoring most hand traps in general, and now they have to make a choice. Do they go for the double battle butler, or do they cycle the Meow Meow Moo so that they can try their combo all over again? They have to make that choice now. Now, as for the love tap on Drytrons, Eva down to 1. I only played 1 when I topped, so does it matter? Absolutely it does, because I couldn't go any further because I was short an extra Eva. And right now, I think the key thing here is, oh, 1 Eva doesn't make that big of a difference. 3 negate, 5 negate. Well, the difference is whether or not you can use Eva on your own turn. If you use Eva on your own turn, that means you set yourself up even further, and it gives them less chances to come back. And as for emergency teleport to 2, I think that's just a nice little comeback. We're probably gonna see even more emergency teleport in the future. That's my guess anyway. Now, for product release, there's 2 major products for this particular month that's really important. 2021 Tin of Ancient Battles, the Mega Tins of the Year. Really successful. It was hyped up also with Crossout Designator, but I think Crossout Designator's hype didn't completely overshadow how good the tins naturally were. Because of the fact, well, there was a lot of high quality cards that were reprinted into this set. I mean, it could have been better, don't get me wrong. I mean, they could have shoved in droplets in there, but you know, who else is going to buy Brothers of Legend in the future? But still, giving people access to stuff like Triple Tactics Talon, the entire Dogmatica engine, Zeus, all the top tier level cards into one tin made the game so much more accessible, and it came with like a huge resurge of a lot of players. Like even Shadol Schisms, like stuff that was from Rise of the Duelist being jam-packed into this set was a very big plus for a lot of people, and the cards were not that hard to actually acquire, so that was pretty big. And then Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm gave us Baron Lafleur, and Lure Less Support, which eventually led it into the new Tri Brigade Bird Up deck. And this is the current variant with like basically full power. So there was a huge meta shift overall. So we got Invoke Shadow Dogmatica, a huge resurge, and then even more players playing it because now they all have access to these cards. Adignisters are still very strong. The Towers deck of the format. We have Dragon Link. Well, they didn't get touched by the ban list, and the Control variant is still very much playable even to this day. And Drytron, even though they lost the 1 Eva, well, they were the deck to beat, and they still are pretty much a deck to beat, because if they go full off combo, you can't really do very much. Now, but that there was a kill off of the Tri Brigade stuff. You might have not noticed the Tri Brigade stuff at the bottom here. It's because they just weren't as good. A lot of them jumped to the cat build, but there's just not too much, and people have not experimented with Bird Up enough just yet, because the Bird Up stuff, let's just be real here, they came out at the very end of the month, or they came out the next month depending on the region that you were in. And into November, possibly the best, I guess, release of the entire year happened in this small month here, which was product release of Maximum Gold Eldorado and Burst of Destiny. Maximum Gold Eldorado gave us reprints of Verti Anaconda and Axis Code Target, completely leading into Burst of Destiny. There was also the alternate arts, which I was super hyped up about. I love the Unicorn, I love the IP Masquerena, and I love the Plasma, but there's more to that. There's like the Rescue Cat and everything. It was just flooding us with a ton of alternate arts that were, I think they're gonna look really gold when they come out in the next Battle of Legends set, so that they can be reprinted in, I guess, hopefully ultra rare. I don't know, like Beatrice got reprinted as an ultra rare, so there's hope, guys, there's hope. But leading into Burst of Destiny, we have the debut of Sword Soul, the debut of Fluanderies, and debut of DPE, which completely flooded the entire meta with a ton of decks. DPE decks everywhere. Sword Soul Tenyi, Sword Soul DPE, Pure Sword Soul, these are all possible decks. Bird Up, I guess they technically kind of left from like the last day of the previous month over now, so Tri Brigade Bird Up completely playable in this current variant. In fact, one of the more powerful variants, because Barrel Canary is just a free extender, and Ensemble Robin being able to compulse your monsters nonstop. Very good stuff. Fluanderies made a bit of a splash, being the initial part of a new release. It was just going to happen. People are going to try everything. DPE Invoked, possibly one of the strongest variant of Invoke that we've seen so far. Doesn't even need to play a Shadol package to window lock you. Pretty silly, and gave them a ton of follow-up. And Fusion Destiny is just busted at this point. Hero decks making a splash as well. just for the initial little bit. Dragon Link still Dragon Link, and DPE Drytron, rather than going to Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, they go into Destiny, Hero, Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer, and that's going to lead to actually next month, which is pretty ridiculous. In terms of December now, this month, it doesn't seem too far away. I mean, we're at the end of the month, but you know, on the release, of course, it gave us a ton of cool reprints and killed the market, which is great. But in terms of other releases, the fish decks, we've got our right hand shark, left hand shark, and we got our stealth kraken spawn. These are all, to me, in terms of like giving us a new archetype to play, I think it's actually pretty solid on the mark on the release, and I think it's only going to get better in the upcoming months. And we also have Exodia Cook, which is one of the most annoying decks. If you don't have any form of burn, direct attack, you're just going to let your opponent Exodia you. So that part kind of sucked. I mean, sure, it's kind of your own fault, like not learning how to deal with a Mystic Mind kind of deal. Then there's Utopia Dragonar. This people thought it was going to be a structure deck, but apparently, nope. It's going to be a high rarity deck, but luckily it's easy to pull. And in fact, I think it's actually a better step than actually having it as a structure deck, personally. That's just my thought. You guys don't have to agree with me, because I think acquiring the Utopia Dragonar the cards themselves as singles is actually probably going to be cheaper than you buying 3 copies of this structure deck. So you might actually have been saving a little bit of money if you wanted to play this particular deck. Now, in terms of competition, we got YCS remote in December. And this event is actually not concluded yet. So we're still going to be waiting for the top cut in January. But let me tell you guys right now, in terms of deck representation, the stuff that's doing really, really well, we have basically stuff that's listed down on this list here. We have Phantom Knights, super successful deck, and thanks to the trend of playing Artifact Scythe, any deck that's capable of playing DPE in some way or form, or capable of making Artifact Dagda in part of their combo, you're going to see a Scythe in there, and the people are just Scythe locking people nonstop. Even Drytron, you can search out the card with Ben 10, and good luck. They go into Verte. You can't really stop them. They're going to pop the Scythe, and you're going to have a pretty rough time. I'm just telling you that right now. That's why people are maxing out on their Crows, maxing out on their Cosmic Cyclones. Other decks are super strong. Bird Up still probably the most represented deck by far. Sword Soul, all variants. I've seen some pretty crazy stuff, especially people that are running DPE. They're not even running Pot of Prosperity to minimize, unbanishing of the card. They're just like, you know what? They're going to go full out. They're going to play the cards that give them the most advantage. Invoke DPE, even Plunder Patrol making into top 16. And then there's also a very cool Link Eldritch deck. Really, really cool. And Herman Hansen taking B-Trooper DPE all the way to the top. So I got to throw a mention in there. So anyways, that is what I see the competition at right now. Hopefully Artifact Scythe maybe takes a hit in the upcoming ban list, because it is over Splash now. It's basically the go-to strategy. It's forcing all these decks to build in a certain way where we have to either crow away stuff, we have to play Triple Chalice just in case there is a Scythe coming up. We need some form of turn-based, quick effect-based negation to deal with this. And it does cause a little bit of limitation. But anyways, I am done talking about December. And that is it for our top tier timeline.
That is it. Another year in the bag of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! I just wonder what 2022 is going to bring us already.
Yeah, well, let's hope that Scythe is going to be gone.
There's a couple of things that I think will get banned, but maybe ban list discussions will be sometime next week.
Yeah, we're gonna get close. It's a holiday, so you know what, guys? Happy holidays, everybody. Hopefully enjoy your time off, enjoy your rest, enjoy some Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Enjoy my stream. I'm gonna go on the stream a little bit more since I'm off work finally.
And happy birthday to this guy.
Oh yeah, thank you. Hit subscribe button. If you want to give me a birthday present, that subscribe click is all you guys need to do. You can go ahead and turn off the notification bell. That's fine. Just send the subscribe button my way.
Yeah, we're at just over 77,000, so that's been
make it 777.
77777. Wow,
That'd
that's
be
good.
lucky.
That's good luck.
That's good luck. That's good luck. That's good luck for you guys too, because it'll bless your packs.
Exactly. You guys are more likely to pull OTS, Altis, and Starlights if you subscribe to our channel.
Yeah.
We don't have the numbers to prove it, but I'm pretty sure it's true.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, look forward to a good 2022. We're going to have some fun next week. That's all I got. So until next time, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.